Oh, you can't defend yourself. You can't defend your home. You can't do anything about what's happening. And that's why California is falling. For many of us, we had to evacuate years ago, back in 2020 and 2021, because we were watching California burn politically. Radical Democrats literally popped up and showed their true colors. And for us, the state's been burning. Defund the police turned into demoralize the police, and they don't want to do their job no more. Anything goes. If there's a crime committed against you in California, there is no investigation. No one's going to jail. And depending on who committed the crime against you, you'll be deemed a racist for even wanting laws to be enforced against the person who perpetrated it, depending on your racial background and the person who did this against you. So we've been watching California burn for a long time. And it's just sad, that we're watching it happen in real time, but this is happening in Los Angeles. Now, I'm from there. I've been on the 405 freeway where you could feel the heat from the fire. But it's right over there by the Getty's Museum, and it happens all the time. But Palisades, I mean, this is huge. Also, we have these extremely strong winds. So that means these fires are spreading faster than you can run. It's really hard to get away. So I'm watching videos of people, and literally the only option they have is to try to get to the beach. So if you have horses, if you have sheep, there's a lot of people. It's like a desert next to the beach. If you're in Palisades or that part of Malibu, a lot of dry brush, especially this time of year. We don't, even when we have a lot of rain, we have literally poor policies. We have no water retention policies. And also with all the bureaucracy from the EPA, we're really not able to cut down vegetation and do controlled burns like we're supposed to. It's like a huge money laundering scam just being a resident of California, unfortunately. And I mean, if you think about it, all these properties, yeah, it looks really horrible, but think about it. These people are celebrating, especially if you have a house that's for sale in a place where home invasions happen every day to all your neighbors. You can't go anywhere anymore in California, especially in Los Angeles. It's not safe. There's no police. So you can't. So the best part of living in Los Angeles is all the stuff there is to do, right? There's been nothing to do since 2020. And that's when my bottom line got affected. And I said, I need to go somewhere that's open. And I literally jumped around between 5 different states until I found freedom in Texas. Texas was wide open. They had never locked down. They never did masks. I stayed here. But these are all people that a lot of these houses are overpriced, upside down. So in a way, these fires are a blessing in disguise. The problem is you got to have the right type of insurance for this to qualify. But even if you don't, it's a communist state. You can sue and you will win. Look at this. Looks like a movie. It's like a scene out of a movie. This is why you see so many people on foot running away. And do you know how hard it is to breathe with that type of smoke in the air? Very difficult, very extreme. And look at, you got electric cars, a lot of Teslas. They're not going to do too well once that battery runs out, and there's no one coming that can bring gas and pour it into your Tesla where you can drive that car off. You're going to have to be towed away. But if you have hundreds of Teslas in a certain area, listen, that's 3 Teslas right there. 1, 2. I'm from California. I have a Tesla. It's a horrible investment. This will be the last electric car I ever buy, not just because I don't trust Elon Musk or the agenda, but just because it's not really cool anymore. If you don't have a charging station at home, luckily I do, but if you have to go to a charging station, you know how long those lines are? And then what if somebody wants to rob you while you're at the charging station? You can't just drive off. You have to disconnect, get into your, it's logistically a nightmare even having these Teslas. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. And yeah, people, I wear this red MAGA hat when I do a lot of my lives because I wanted to live in Trump country. California is not Trump country right now. And he talked about we got to take care of the floors. We got to take care of the floors in the forest. That means we got to take care of the vegetation. We have to clear this out. California has this. Yeah, it's tragic and it's horrible. But do you know we literally deal with this annually in California? Every fucking year, the same thing happens, and no one has a bright idea within a 12-month span to come up with a strategy on how to avert it for next year. To me, that says this is supposed to happen. People want this to happen. There's a financial incentive for this to happen. I don't know if you guys remember the PG&E fires in Northern California, where people said they saw lasers just beaming down, and you see an entire tracts of homes that were just completely turned to dust. And that was I believe it was in Santa Rosa, California. If you're in Los Angeles, Santa Rosa is about 8 hours north. My home state's a huge state. It takes you a long time to get in and out, to get out of it, especially if you're in the LA area. But just look at this. It's like Dante's Inferno. Unbelievable. And this is where a lot of this stuff starts, and I live in downtown LA. A lot of my business is in downtown LA. You have no idea how many times I've watched these homeless people set their own tents on fire because they're in a makeshift house, which is a tent. They'll have electricity going to the tent. They'll have televisions running in there. They'll have a toaster. I seen a guy with a little blow-up jacuzzi in his tent. All these fire hazards, and no one's going to come there and stop you from doing it. They let you do it. And then a few days later, that whole tent, like 20 tents around it, all go up in smoke. Then the brush on the side of the tents in the parking lot, and any of those cars that are parked around those tents all go up in smoke. Happens every single day. And California policies protect criminals, protect crime, and they encourage this to happen. Do me a favor, if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. I'm trying to get followers up. I'm going to start doing more media and start doing more shows. I have some other really good ideas. I'm actually going to do a comedy based on the lockdowns, circa 2020 to 2023. And we're just going to go over how ridiculous it was from day one till 2023 when it ended. It's all going to be based in California, since I'm from California. And we're just going to go to ridiculousness. So that's why I'm trying to build my followers. A lot of you guys are watching us on YouTube. I mean, not on YouTube, but on Instagram. And we're going to just try to expand to more platforms. I have some, if you see the name of this page that you're watching, then you know what this page was originally all about. And I'm still all about that. I'm just not allowed to talk about that, but I can drop hints to it. I tell you this, there's a lot of people that are on television who had to comply to keep their jobs. A lot of them won't be here much longer. So in their absence, people like myself, we're going to step up. We're going to just start doing media. We'll start doing our own forms of journalism, and we'll just talk to people who want to hear it. Anybody who shares our opinions and our views, you want us to talk, let's talk. Of course, I'm pretty conservative. I guess I'm right wing. They said if you don't believe that men can become women, and if you won't date a man who's dressed as a woman because he's still a man, and they're going to call you names that makes you right wing, well then just call me right wing Rico. That's fine. I can live with that. But definitely we're not going to pretend that men can become women. So I guess that's an extreme point of view right now. Well, it was. Now that Trump's coming back in office, sanity is going to be restored, hopefully. And already the world is healing. The next topic we're going to talk about is what happened with Facebook's fact-checking bullshit and how it just fucking folded today, finally. And it should have never been there in the first place. But it just shows you how much of a grifting coward piece of shit that super rich dude Zuckerberg is. It just shows you how much of these people, they never believe in their own bullshit. They'll say anything to save their own skin at the time. Soon as he found out that the assassination attempt against Trump didn't work, immediately he wants to come out and call Trump a badass and this and this. But remember, you kicked him off of Facebook. You banned him and anybody like myself who shared content that was basically pro-Trump, pro-America. You know, I had a Facebook account, 12 years of pictures, of family photos, and you know, things that I used to write, my thoughts, all kinds of stuff for 12 years, and lost it all when I shared the Hunter Biden laptop. That wasn't the first time I, you know, for that was in like December of 2020. I had my page being flagged for 30-day restrictions ever since March, when I started asking questions and saying, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. What the news is telling me is one thing. What journalists and what these medical journals are reading, medical journals, if you read them, they say something completely different. And I was flagged for medical misinformation and just for sharing memes that I would create. And eventually they just completely nuked my account from orbit. People are saying that now that Zuck is trying to get on the current winning team, that some of us might have a chance of getting our pages back. I don't know if my page is deleted or just banned, but you know, we'll see. But we'll go more into that in a second. I just wanted to go over some more of these videos. Santa Monica, California, very expensive, and it used to be very beautiful. Look at that smoke. The winds are blowing that smoke, and it's so strong. And this was early in the daytime. Right now, these fires are burning at night. So it looks like you're in hell. It's very scary. And I want to remind people, if you have pets, if you have animals, do not leave your animals behind. Don't leave your dogs. Don't leave your cats. They are family too. Just because they're, you know, your pets, it doesn't mean that they don't feel fear and they're not going to be afraid, and they're not going to, they also need oxygen. Smoke inhalation is not going to just kill you, it'll kill them too. Don't leave your pets behind. Don't do it. But look at this. More footage. Imagine you're driving to your home that you pay a mortgage on or you pay rent on every single month. All your stuff's in there. Your social security card, your valuables, pictures of your family, your clothing, everything. And you see the embers are blowing at 70 miles per hour down the street. So that means any of these trees can catch fire. Your neighbor's house can catch fire. Your neighbor's car can catch fire, and then that car can explode, especially if there's a lithium battery. And then if the neighbor's car blows, what does that do to your house? I mean, look at these fires. It looks like there's an accelerant, which there probably is. You know, it could be fueled by electricity. There could be oil products in the house. It could be the paint. You know, some of these homes are very old, and just the paint they use alone could be an accelerant for these fires. And look at this man with this little bitty water hose. What the fuck is that going to do? You know, and like I said, I'm from California. This is my home state. I see this every year, but this is a little bit different. I've never seen the smoke go that high and go out that far. And I've never seen just this type of destruction in our Southern California.
From LAFD that they are so strapped for resources that they're looking for firefighters to call in to this hotline to help in this firefight. That number is on your screen. It is 213-576-8962. So again, LAFD saying we need all firefighters on deck. So if you
anybody who knows the name of this page, the Safe and Effective Podcast, let's see if you guys can guess why we might not have enough firefighters anymore after the vaccine mandates of 2021. What happened if you didn't meet the deadline to comply with Biden's threats? What happened if you worked for the city, the state, if you were law enforcement and you believed in the Constitution, if you're a firefighter but you believe in the Constitution? What did they make you do? What did you do? You're no longer with the fire department. You're no longer with the force. So the only people that remain were people that just wanted to check. Real heroes, you don't have to send out an alert. They're going to show up. We had those. We no longer have those. Our law enforcement in the cities, decimated. Our firefighters, decimated. Our military ranks, destroyed. Who's in our military now? Men who are joining so that they can get their wieners chopped off and paid for by the government, or people that are communists or Marxists who are just there to use the government for a free check every month. They hate the country. They hate the flag. They don't respect the Constitution. So that's what you have left, which is basically we have nothing. And right now, in a state where the population is what, 40 million, and probably the most populated part of the state, they're asking for firefighters to come back, to come work, any available personnel. So in our LA basin alone, we're in what, 12 million, 13 million, but we're understaffed with fire departments. I wonder the fuck why. You know, the consequences of the lockdowns and what happened after, basically what the Democrats did to the country and to our population, those effects are going to be felt forever. California will never recover from lockdown. It can't. It never will. Why do you think everybody there is so weird and living with anxiety and all these mental issues? They will never recover from 3 years of the television and everything around you telling you the end is near, and because of the air, you're going to be gone pretty soon, but yet you're still here. That kind of psyop you will never recover from mentally. That kind of trauma is the kind of trauma that they tell you that you're going to experience if, I don't know, you don't affirm somebody's nonsense. No, the real trauma is is the propaganda they put against you for all that time. So we don't have enough firefighters. We don't have them.
Please give this a call, 213-576-8962.
And yeah, they're selling LA Palisades, but it's not just Palisades. This is by Pasadena. So this is close to me in Los Angeles, where I live at in downtown LA. Please like and subscribe to the page so that you can get more updates. I'm going to keep making more videos and going over news. Oh, wow. And this is Altadena. So this is by Pasadena. This is far away from Palisades. But look at this. I don't know why it's so low, but they're trying to get their horses out. So these people are heroes. If you're in the Palisades area, you want to get down the hill as close to the beach as possible. There's no trees on the beach, so you'll be away from the fires. But anything that can burn probably will burn. Yeah, they're getting their animals out of there, thank God. But those are just the ones they could take. What about the ones that they don't have enough arms or enough people to get out of there? And they didn't have enough time. I'm pretty sure they didn't know these fires were going to start last night or yesterday. I'm pretty sure this is quick. And look at the winds. It's just, so that's how fast this can spread. And then this is in Malibu, right here up against the water. The fire currently, 2 hours ago, it is 0% contained. 0%. And this is in Los Angeles. So this is where the houses are. This is no longer out in the hills, or this is in the city. If you're in the hood or you're like in the center of LA, it's a concrete jungle. There are some trees in some places, but I don't know if I haven't seen the hood burn down. But this is looking like Pasadena. So you're getting closer to the inner city. And look at this greasy piece of shit. The grease in his hair is probably what started a lot of this fire when he was spraying it this morning. It's fucking bum. You know, I actually had to go fight this guy so I can keep my business open back in 2020 because I refused to close. It didn't make any sense. I would need him to come down personally with a machine gun and force me to shut down. I wasn't going to do it. Let's look at this.
Quickly, this is going. Hundreds and hundreds of personnel all throughout the state of California are here, coming from Northern California. We pre-positioned 110 engines. We've got fixed wing aircraft, helicopters, dozers, water tenders, rescue personnel, putting everything we can.
I hope I'm not following this guy. Yeah, but he's on my fucking timeline.
Of course, in the next few days, unprecedented winds for this time of year. And of course, this time of year traditionally has not been fire season, but now we disabuse it.
Yeah, this piece of shit is one step away from saying climate change is making this fire extra racist. He's one step away from saying that woke fucking piece of shit. Yeah, dude, just done with him. Done with him. He's no help. He's a part of the problem. Can't wait for him to get out of there. But you know what? If Trudeau's gone, then Newsom will be gone soon too. And we'll touch on that as well. But Trudeau is not gone. He just announced his plans on leaving, but he didn't actually resign. So a lot of damage can happen between now and March. Keep that in mind. Now, all of these people that live in this neighborhood should be worried. With winds like that, that means that the fire can change direction at any moment, and the trees in front of your house can catch fire, and then that means your house is going to go up next. Look at all the vegetation. Look at the dry grass. It's not green. These trees are dry. There's been no rain lately. And even if it was, I mean, it's not going to be enough for this unless it's going to rain tomorrow.
Right over that thing. The whole entire hill's on fire. Holy shit.
That's a lot of land. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of homes. It's a lot of people trying to get out of that area on narrow roads that are in mountains. The freeways are probably going to be shut down. But I don't know. The 405 has been open during fires because we're used to this. But if you're in these hills with these narrow roads, it's going to be really hard. That's why a lot of people are on foot. It's just the news just keeps coming. You know how much it's going to cost to rebuild this? But I bet they won't have it. We have hundreds of billions to send to fucking Ukraine, to Israel, but we're going to have limited to little budget to help rebuild any of these homes. I mean, we didn't build Lahaina in Hawaii. We haven't rebuilt East Palestine. There's a lot of places that are burning to the ground in the United States, and we don't have the money for it, but we have money to send to other countries where no one can find on a map, where no one speaks the language, and where we don't even have a dog in the fight because they're not even an ally. But we don't have money for this. But honestly, these are homes. If you're a homeowner, you're typically going to have insurance. But I don't know if you guys remember a few months ago in California, some of the biggest insurance companies said they will not insure California anymore, and they actually pulled out right in time. I guess they knew this was going to happen. And look at this bullshit right here.
Department's future, one that includes a 3-year strategic plan to increase diversity.
If my house is on fire, do you think I give a fuck about how diverse? And honestly, I don't. A man who is going to be risking his life, I don't want to be next to another mentally ill man who thinks he's a woman or another person. And I don't even care what you're having sex with. You do that at home anyway. You can stick your dick in a blender for all I give a fuck. Why do you have to announce it and wear your flag where basically where you're letting everyone know you like children also? Why do we have to see that? No one cares. Right now, we need firefighters. But why would a strong young man not even want to sign up anymore? Who wants to be around this? Who wants all this bullshit? This is why the military is unappealing. Because this is why no one wants to do these jobs anymore. We don't want to be associated with that. We literally reject it. We rebuke it. We don't want anything to do with the LGBT. We're actually at war with them. They're targeting children openly. Those are our enemies. They're not even Americans, in my opinion, anymore. They are the enemy. And you think people want to sign up and risk their lives and fight alongside these fucking people? No, it's not happening.
What number are you looking for? So I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough.
Out of 3,300 city firefighters, only 115 are women right now. She's already looking at ways to change that.
Why the fuck does it matter? Women don't do these types of jobs because For one, physically, they are not able to. They're smaller, they're weaker. This is all this wokeness and all this diverse bullshit is pointless, but all it does is just make everything weaker. There are roles in society. Men and women have different types of roles. These are not jobs made for women. Women and men are not the same. You know, and that's a problem when you say that, until you say, okay, we'll put a woman on a basketball court, put a woman on a football field, put a woman somewhere to do something where she has to be physical against a man, and let's see what happens. Why do you think it's always a man pretending to be a woman doing things that women do, like playing women's sports, but it's never the other way around? That's for a reason.
Quick to point out that
Why do I even have to point this out to people? This is like the most obvious. It's ridiculous.
They feel valued and they feel part of a cohesive team.
The chief also
Fuck your feelings. We got stuff burning. We don't care about how shit feels. We care about what can be accomplished, what can be saved.
checks another box when it comes to inclusivity and diversity in this department. She's a proud member of the LGBTQ community.
Why does any of that matter when it comes to who's going to be putting out your fires? All of this, and this, but guess what? This is California, and California is bullshit, and let's keep going. I mean, let's see how diverse those ranks are when it comes to risking your lives to put these fires out right now. I bet they're not going to do it. And this is along PCH in Malibu. So this might be right past Carbon Beach if you're driving up. And I used to live in Carbon Beach, so I know right where this is. Probably not too far from Nobu. Do you think diversity matters? You think how black or how gay somebody is right now fucking matters? Well, only when it comes down to having to risk your lives. I doubt they're going to be willing to do that. But a straight man, a straight white man will happily do it. But what are you trying to save at this point? What are you trying to preserve over here? What American way of life are you trying to secure? It's leaving, especially if you're in a state like California. That's why I left. I saw this on the writing on the wall.
Here are the floors, the floors of the forests, very important. You look at other countries where they do it differently, and it's a whole different story. I was with the president of Finland, and he said, we have much different. We're a forest nation. He called it a forest nation. And they spend a lot of time on raking and cleaning and doing things, and they don't have any problem. And when it is, it's a very small problem.
And look at Gavin Newsom standing there all smug. Fucking idiot. Literally, everything Trump's saying in one ear and out the other. He's too busy worried about, well, I wonder if I can get somebody who's gay to wear a rainbow and come do a cartwheel in this fucking brush. Instead of, let's see if we can get some people out here to clear the brush. You know, even Kamala Harris with her retarded ass, at least, you know, she was actually using slave labor of prisoners to fight the fires in Northern California. But there are so many other things you can do to mitigate damage and reduce the odds of these massive fires breaking out. We're not the only country in the world with the same climate and these same conditions. There's other places that do it. And Trump literally was just talking about Finland. They'll literally bring people from other parts of the country to talk about gay shit, but they won't bring people from other parts of the world to talk about how to basically prevent things from happening next year that happen every single year. And these are the kind of people you're voting for. Idiots who play into your victimhood or basically compliment or basically they validate your mental illness and pretend that, you know, they affirm it for nonsense instead of actually being pragmatic and trying to figure out ways to stop this before it happens.
Everybody's looking at that to that end. It's going to work out. Just clean that up.
You know, they're a chlorine gas facility in LA. And they're evacuating homes, but if this fire gets to a gas facility, it's not like we have enough firefighters to go stand by to put this out or protect those areas. They fired them all. They fired some of our best men and women, and they discouraged them. Remember, it wasn't just defund. It was also demoralize and discourage. No one wants to even come and sign up for these jobs. Only certain people. And that's it. Not very many. Yeah. And this is just me going down my timeline on Twitter. That's how much of this is being reported. That's how much is happening. Mandatory evacuations now. This is 34 minutes ago.
There were still seniors
In Altadena, that's right above Pasadena.
Ambulances and different vehicles, even in police vehicles, to this location. And from here, as you can see, they're taking them in all different kinds of vehicles. Even the Pasadena SWAT vehicle was transporting these elderly patients, and they're going to different.
Well, see, thank God there's good men and women out there. You know, these seniors, they're disabled. They can't really move around. And thank God that people are actually there to help get them out of there. And wow, good stuff, you know, heartwarming. This gives you hope. But these good people, we're literally fighting against morons who want to prevent this from being possible.
Different facilities. Again, this is because of that fire that's just absolutely out of control right now. And we were told over 90 patients were being transported to the different facilities. But you can see here, it's such a chaotic scene right now. So they're asking everybody to evacuate.
You know, it's a shame. You know, I'm from California. It's nothing like Texas or other places. In California, you don't know your neighbors. You don't like them. You're afraid of them. And it's weird when us Californians move to Idaho or Arizona or to Texas or Florida, and people speak to us, we're not used to speaking back to them. We don't have hospitality. We don't know each other. And it's a shame because you see that right now in California. In other places, people in the surrounding areas would come and just try to find people who need a ride, pick them up and drive them. But instead, a lot of people are just every man for themselves. You know, you'll be by yourself in a car that seats 6 and a drive right past a scene like this because we don't speak to our neighbors. We're very suspicious of our neighbors because say your neighbors do something, you can't defend yourself. So you're suspicious and you're afraid of everyone. Problem is with California, we're such a large state with big ego, we assume that everywhere in the country is the same as California. So what's the point of going somewhere else? When you come to Texas and you find out people have where you have gun laws, where you can protect yourselves, you can protect your family, you can protect your neighbor's property too. You're way friendlier. You don't have nothing to worry about because you're armed. And if something goes wrong, you can protect yourself. In California, you have to be extra vigilant because if something goes wrong, there's nothing you can do besides become a victim. So it's best not to open your door. It's best not to open your home to people. It's best not to even let them ride in your car, even when there's an evacuation order and you see people walking down the road. I've seen that on some of these videos. There's people on foot. And if there's not a police person to pick them up, no one's giving them a ride. No one's offering them anything. They're fucked. They're just going to have to sit there and become victims or just wait for someone else to hopefully become a good Samaritan. It's a shame, but that's how Californians, that's how we are.
Four pictures down there. If you guys want to record it down at the bottom, just with the wood chips, they took them down. Down at the bottom, like about 2 lights down.
All right, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, this is just crazy.
It is crazy.
It's crazy how unorganized this is when we literally have this happen every 12 months. And there's no evacuation plan in place. There's no seamless, just it's like, say you're learning how to swim. You keep a life vest on, you're going jet skiing. You know what to do if you fall off. You know what happens if somebody falls in the water. There's an emergency plan in place. Just like we're preparing for earthquakes, which are literally not even that bad and only happen once every God knows when. This is something that happens annually. And everyone's pretending this is their first day living in California. More evacuations. Let's see here. Look at this. So you can't even walk. Where are you going to walk? If you don't have a car, you're screwed. If you're a senior citizen and you're, homebound, you're screwed. And look how dangerous of a drive this is. The sides of the road are filled with emergency vehicles. People are looking at the fires. This is a car accident waiting to happen. Unbelievable. These fires are spreading out of control.
This can't be happening.
Just pray that nobody who lives next door to you has a Tesla and it's in the garage and it's charging, or it's in the front of their house. Just pray that their Tesla doesn't catch on fire, because I don't know if a lot of you guys know this. The fire department cannot put out a lithium battery fire. It has to burn itself out. So you're looking at 3 days it takes for one of those fires to go out on its own. You can't douse it with water to put it out. And no one talks about that when they're selling you the car. And if one of those cars catches on fire and the battery gets too hot, you got a fire hazard. Look at these winds. One of my best friends in LA just called me and he was like, the winds out here are crazy right now. He's in West Covina. So there's fires right now in what is it called? El Monte, heading east. So he's in the path. So it's not just, where it was at first. The winds are spreading this as far out as the Inland Empire. And they have their own strong winds out there through the 15 freeway. So you have to, this could potentially be very bad. But look at the wind. Look at how it's blowing this pool cover. And Miles Chong's been sharing a lot of really good videos, giving people some really good perspective about what's happening. But what is really highlighting is just how ill-prepared we are. Even though it happens literally every 12 months. Earthquake that's substantial every 12 to 15, maybe 20 years. This happens every 12 months. Maybe in different parts of California, but every 12 months. This is where homeless people live, in these trucks and then in these tents. And, they cook drugs. They do all kinds of things they have no business doing. They have makeshift electricity. They're running from poles because there's no city enforcement. There's nobody who enforces the code and will shut them down. They're protected. And when these things catch on fire, the fire will spread. And no one wants to think about that. They just, they think whatever. And this is the guy we don't trust.
It's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. We gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today.
No, you don't.
But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political. But there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people.
So wait, you magically figured out that fact checkers were consistently wrong and basically just fact checking based on left-wing political bias against right-wing people like myself who were basically just posting content that was pro-America and pro the current president at the time. We were censored, and then we were kicked off the internet because we were honest about news reports and we were sharing actual articles. So we became the enemy because of your fact checkers, and it magically took you until what, 13 days before Trump comes back into office for you to realize that the fact checkers are a bad idea. We should get rid of them. Fuck you.
And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression.
No, that's not what this is. Facebook is dead. I'll be honest, I don't even know if I'm streaming on Facebook right now because it's pointless. And this is a new Facebook page if I am streaming on Facebook, because my other page was literally nuked from orbit for sharing the Hunter Biden and anything about the scamdemic. So my page was nuked. So I've been silenced. So this is the face of a man who is afraid. But does he think he's going to go to jail for what he's going to find out, for what they're going to find out once Trump comes back into office? What is he so afraid of? He think he gives a shit about free speech? He literally silenced us and turned on the president while he was running for re-election back in 2020. Kicked him off of Facebook and tried to embarrass him. How do you think Truth Social became a thing in the first place? Because Twitter and Facebook literally nuked Trump at the same time. Everyone did. The same way they did Alex Jones. The same way they did Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Dale Bigtree when they won that huge lawsuit in 2020 against the pharmaceutical companies. If you didn't know about that, I will tell you, except I'm streaming on YouTube right now. So you're going to have to come over to my page on Rumble or on X, and I'll tell you exactly why all those people were censored and kicked off the internet. Not for harming kids or doing anything wrong, but just for telling you the truth. This guy knew it the whole time. If you're the person in charge, there's no way you didn't figure this out until magically right before Trump comes back into office, and now you want to suck toes and kiss ass? Unbelievable.
On our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X.
Similar to X or exactly like X. So now you're bowing and admitting that what Elon Musk is doing is going to grow faster than what you're doing. Because I'll be honest, the only thing anybody I personally know does on Facebook anymore, for one, that's the only way I know if it's your birthday. I'll be honest, I'm bad with birthdays. If you have a birthday, and if I know it's on Facebook. I got a bunch of people that say happy birthday to me on Facebook the other day, which was great. But so birthdays and Country Wayne. Country Wayne skits, I'll be honest, I watch them. I do skits myself sometimes. Country Wayne and birthdays are the only thing people do on Facebook anymore. Facebook is useless as hell. Nothing else. The only people on Facebook are now everyone's older, so you're only watching Country Wayne or you're watching people get old because of their birthdays. That's it. And I guess he's trying to stay relevant. But there's new platforms that are going to come about, and there's going to be new ways of doing things. I even have a new it's a new app, but it's a social network type thing I'm going to be launching in a few months. But not hoping that it'll replace Facebook, because I don't even know if I want to have something that's just going to be data mining from people and get to the point where it's so big that we start to ban them based on their political views. I don't even know if I want to grow anything that would even have that kind of potential. I'm disgusted by it. Honestly, I'll be honest, less is more nowadays. You know, the good old days we had MySpace. We didn't know much about people we didn't know anything about each other. We're just on MySpace. You will listen to somebody's music or see what videos, and then you have their bio and a couple of pictures. Now, I know what you ate for lunch and breakfast 3 years ago. I know about all your 10 relationships in the past 2 years. It's way too much information. It's fucking disgusting, in my opinion. But let's see what else let's see what else this grifter has to say.
Starting in the U.S. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created.
Are you kidding me? They're your fact checkers. They follow your lead, your orders. You could have stopped them or checked them years ago. You initiated the ban on the president, Trump. You are the problem. And I think he knows that they're going to find out what he's been up to, who he's been working for, because a lot of this censorship stuff is Chinese. Those are the same rules that they have for their own people. And he was trying to do that to Americans. Think about it, social credit would be based on your political opinions and what you say online, and they will dock your social credit score and basically lower you down. My social credit score got so goddamn bad that they nuked my page just because of my political opinions and the things I talk about. And they were trying to do that. But now he got stopped in his tracks and he's scared. He wanted to circumvent the constitution of the land he was born in. So what does that make him? Let's see what else he has to say.
Especially so over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notice system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies, get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse.
Your policies on gender are out of touch with what? Why don't you just be honest? They're out of touch with fucking reality. Less than 1% of the population, and you want to basically ban and give people holes for dead naming people and calling a man and a woman. Because that's my choice as an American. If I don't want to call you a fucking woman just because you put on lipstick, that's my right. If I want to dislike you based on your lifestyle, that's my right. I don't have to like you. Fuck you. I don't have to agree with you. I won't agree with you. You don't got to agree with me. That's your right. If you don't like it, fight me. You have a right to do that too. But literally, what you were doing was out of touch with reality. And now we've been living in a Democrat wet dream the last 4 years where everything's up in the clouds. Nothing is realistic. So now pragmatism and a based reality is coming back into society. And everyone's reshifting. They're getting rid of all the DEI stuff and all the other bullshit. And now they're going to have to go back to reality. No more living in the clouds, no more playing make-believe. And that's what is going to be a problem for him. So he's trying to pivot. I don't even think I think Facebook will be around, but as far as its power and its influence, after what they've been doing the last few years, I don't see it working.
Started as a movement to be more inclusive, has increasingly been used to shut down opinions, shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure.
Yeah, because you weren't trying to be inclusive of my opinions and my ideas, but you were trying to be inclusive when it came to the ideas that a child is not a human until it's born. And then even after birth, you should be able to kill it up until 15 days after. Like what kind of weird crap? You want me to be accepting of that? You publicized that. You actually promoted that. Look it up. The governor of Virginia, he talked about it. That wasn't censored. But my opinions on the fact of that was people that are standing in front of abortion clinics are being arrested and they're prosecuting them for praying. That was censored, but yet the actual act of doing it was not censored. Why was that? But yet those same policies are not being applied in these other countries, these BRICS countries, where he's getting these orders from. And I'm not saying all the BRICS countries even have Facebook. They don't have access, but everyone wants to play nice with those other countries, and they were shitting on our country and shitting on our people. That's, I tell people America first means also Americans first. So it's not just America first, it's Americans first. But I say Americans only. So I don't believe in all this foreign aid. I don't believe in everything, helping everybody. We have to help ourselves. We have enough for our own people. that have enough issues. And I don't believe in communism. I'm not saying save everyone, but there are things for our own infrastructure here that need to be the priority before anything and anyone else. Because I've been to other countries, I've lived in other parts of the world. America's not anyone's priority. No one is sending us shit. So what? We have a Federal Reserve that prints money out of thin air. And start your own Federal Reserve. You guys aren't sending. There's no other country on earth that's taxing their people right now and sending their money to us for humanitarian aid. It's not happening. No one gives a shit about us. But yeah, we're supposed to be saving everyone. But that's just virtual signaling, because a lot of that money to those charities gets washed and laundered back to people in these organizations over here. Just like all that money that goes to Ukraine ends up in military industrial complex bank accounts for them to buy weapons that are being destroyed by Russians that these Ukrainians can't even operate in the first place because they don't have the training to do so. It's all just money laundering in a way. And I think that hopefully with Doge coming into existence now, a lot of that's going to get shut down to be a lot less waste. Hopefully a lot less, hopefully the government actually gets smaller after this, because look how big it is and look how fucked up everything is. It's not making any sense to even have it this large.
That people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms.
Are you going to give us our pages back? Are you going to give us back all of our stuff that you took away when you threw a hissy fit and didn't like the things that we were saying online? We weren't threatening anybody. We were just giving our political opinions and making it known that some of the stuff doesn't make sense and it's weird. So we were kicked off line, kicked off of Facebook, had to make new pages, and this. Let's see what this guy's. I wonder if he's going to offer us our stuff back.
We used to have filters that stand for any policy violation. Now we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off.
The reality is you're going to have to fire a lot of those left-leaning idiots and pervs that work at Facebook who basically hate and literally throttle posts from anybody who supported Trump, who's America first, who has an American flag in their bio. All those people, your employees, have been literally trained, to target and to remove. You're going to have to remove your staff. You can't just put them in a new training class and get that out of them. That's who these people are. They're Democrats. So this is ideological. There is no training that's going to be able to train that out of them. You're going to have to get new staff, my friend. Are you going to do that? Because I don't think you're going to be able to just. This is what these people think about it. Elon Musk, to go a different direction, had to fire, what was it, 80% of the people that worked at Twitter? Unless Zuck is willing to do the same with these Facebook employees, everything he's saying right now is bullshit.
It means we're going to catch less bad stuff. We'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts.
I saw that on the end of that.
Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive.
No, let's be honest. People who are Democrats were stressed out by people like myself and the things we would post because they were afraid of it. If you're a pedophile or if you're someone who particularly targets children on Facebook, it's particularly stressful when someone like myself shares articles about how they're hunting those type of people down and arresting them and targeting them. They actually said that the laws against people who are targeting children for sexual exploitation, they said the laws are biased specifically against the LGBTQ, since those are the ones that are primarily being affected by said laws. That's what's stressing these people out. That's what's stressing those people out that are on Facebook. You're saying they're stressed. They're stressed out about accountability for being caught for what they're doing. Under the Biden administration, there was a blind eye. Policies passed in certain states where it basically decriminalized having relations with children. It's stressful when you know those days are going to end and Trump's going to come back and there's actually law and order will be restored. It's already happening. That's what's stressing people out. So, but only certain people. I'm not stressed about it. Certain people are. So what? Just be honest about it.
Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we
Get the So even Zuck is admitting Californians are the problem. It's a mind virus. So like I said, if he's going to be moving that department to Texas, those people are fired. It makes no sense to bring the people who you're trying to get away from with you. When I moved to Texas, I was leaving my ex-girlfriend because she was toxic, had a lot of issues. If I would have moved to Texas and then a month later flew her to live with me in Texas, I'm literally bringing the problem with me that I'm trying to get away from. You got to fire her. He has to fire them. So that's what that goes back to my point 10 minutes ago. He's going to have to get rid of most of those people. So he's relocated to Texas. It's going to be new people being hired because there's no point of bringing the problem with you. You can't bring the ideology with you. This is not going to be the season for them. And what are those people going to do now? God knows what. Maybe go see if they can go share some child, exploitation videos on Blue Sky. Maybe they can get hired there.
work to promote free expression, I think it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump.
It sounds like he also took a shot at the governor of California, Newsom, also because let's back it up. What did he just say?
I think that will help us build trust to do this work in places where there's less concern about the bias of our team.
Less concern from who? Who's basically the people that are above your corporation in the state of California would be the California state government. So what he's saying is that the California government, the governor, they were very concerned about the bias of his teams, and they were actually controlling, I guess, maybe what the people in California saw, what they had exposure to, when they wanted people kicked off, and they would send in those letters. And it wasn't just Biden and the Biden administration that was sending in letters and requests to Facebook and had a backdoor channel. It was also these local state governors too. And I'm guessing Gavin Newsom's government. And that's what Zuckerberg is referring to. That's who were too concerned. He wants to move somewhere where they're going to be less concerned.
Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative.
True.
Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it.
You're excited to basically see yourself dodging another bullet. Trump was coming after his ass. The Department of Justice was too. I actually have those videos from a few years ago where they found out there was this secret backdoor program where basically anybody on Facebook, he can go into your messages and read it, copy it, send it to other people, share it, turn on your cameras. There's all these things that the Facebook app was doing on your phone. that people were just like, what the fuck? So Zuckerberg was already in hot water about that. But then they said, okay, well, TikTok is doing that. But then everybody else's counter argument was, what's the difference? So is Facebook. So it's okay if an American independent company is doing that, but are they really independent if they're being controlled by governments, the American governments and state governments? No, it's not independent. So it's not any better. And now he's hoping that he just saved his own ass, and now he's becoming based. He just put Dana White on his board of directors for Facebook, the guy from UFC, which, I mean, I think that's kind of, I don't know. But, I mean, that just shows you also that to work in tech and to run these tech companies, you don't need to bring in a bunch of Indian people with an H-1B visa. Any American can do it. If you can read, then you can learn, you can do it. You don't need to bring in people from other countries to do these jobs unless you just want to pay them way less and make a slave labor force that's going to be easy to you, that's going to be loyal to you and easy to control. If that's the case, well, then, yeah, the H-1B visas make sense. But when you're thinking about what they're doing, none of these people are super brilliant. They just have an idea and you just work it. It's nothing too difficult about it. The only difference is you're going to have to pay these Americans. You don't have to pay the people from these other countries.
It'll take time to get this right. These are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after...
Like you're the illegal stuff we need to fucking remove. But it's just that it's hard because you don't know what to do with Zuckerberg. No one knows what to do with him right now. Because he's groveling so much, you kind of feel sorry for him. But then you realize that he's a snake. And eventually, if the chips fall against you, he'll turn on you and stab you in the back as well. So he's friend to no one. He's nobody's friend. You know, he's a fair weather friend.
For years of having our content moderation work focused primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots and giving people a voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there. More to come soon.
Even though that's not the root of Facebook, the root of Facebook was dating and meeting women. That's what Facebook was for. That's what social media was pretty much for. It wasn't about giving you a voice. That's not the root of Facebook, but whatever you want to claim. Fuck Zuckerberg. You know, until I get my pages back, he's untrustworthy. And even after I get my pages back, fuck him. I don't even want to house all my content on Facebook anymore anyway. It's too untrustworthy. For me to think Facebook is trustworthy and then want to put money into their advertising or to putting a business where I'm based on Facebook would be the equivalent of me being dumb enough to say, hey, let me go open up a new company in the state of California. Matter of fact, let me go buy a house that I plan on renting out in California. You know how dumb of an idea that is? Knowing that a squatter can just take your house, nothing you can do about it. Knowing that greasy fucking governor can just shut down your business whenever he wants to, and there is nothing you can do about it. He can claim there's a medical emergency. He can make up anything he wants to, and you have no power because essentially your governor is the president of your state. They don't have to listen to the Fed. We didn't know all this until 2020. So, you know, dealing with Facebook going forward is going to be just as risky as dealing with the state of California. And that's why people are moving out and are moving away. People are moving out of California. People are moving away from Facebook. So fuck Newsom and fuck Zuckerberg. I said it. And we're not going to look at no one's grandma. That's the thing about Twitter or X. It's a double-edged sword.
Trying to break into homes up here.
And so it begins. Like I told people, the worst part about California is we do not have self-defense laws. I repeat, there are no self-defense laws. There are now criminals who are basically the same people that do home invasions, who flock and, you know, break into homes. They're already looting homes in Pacific Palisades. So while you're evacuating out, they're driving in, they're breaking into homes. And if they catch you in one of those homes, they might delete you. And there's nothing you can do about it because if you shoot one of them, they're going to say you're a racist and you're a bigot and you didn't have to kill them. Even though they're breaking into your house looking to harm you, they could be armed and dangerous and it won't matter. That's California. They're already looking to exploit this disaster and steal from you. And there will be no justice. And there is no one there armed who's going to protect your property, your neighbor's property, or you. Not your family, not your children, no one. There's no one coming to help you. The police are afraid of the criminals. The criminals are the only ones who have guns, even though they're not supposed to. You're just a victim waiting to happen. And that's why people are moving to Texas. Because here, we're not victims. We will never be victims under our current governor here.
Go ahead and give me a rundown of your resources. Go ahead. Trying to break into homes up here.
Already breaking into homes. Oh, let's see here. These are all different videos. These are not even, and I believe this is on PCH also. I know where this is. I've been around this. Malibu. Worst part is, you have a lot of Californians that are communists who hate people that have more than them. They hate people that work. That's why they were so happy when the businesses were closed down during a lockdown. They were like, ha, now you don't have a business. Now you lost everything. Now you're equal to me. They'll never be equal to you. Your mentality is fucked. These are people that want to work, and you laugh at the fact that they're going to lose their homes and their property, but they can rebuild. You'll always be where you are because you're a communist. You just don't know you're a communist because no one's ever called you one. So you don't know the definition. Being Cuban, I know what a communist is. I know what breeds communism. And when I found out, when I noticed that California was going communist, actually it could have been that way for a while. I just never paid attention because I didn't care about politics. Being in California, you're so disconnected from the rest of the country. I mean, you have LA, you have the Bay Area, you have Las Vegas, you have Phoenix. You're not even really connected to the United States. You're just way out on your own separate island, and you don't care about what's going on. It's whatever. But once things hit the fan and Trump became, and the lockdown started, then you started to notice what's really going on in the minds of your neighbors around you in California. That's when things got scary. And that's when you realize that you're just surrounded by a bunch of communist, mindless drones who hate everything about the country they choose to live in. It's insane. I don't understand people that live in Southern California. Hey, hold on. Don't add all of Louisiana and all of Texas, knowing that there would be fires, hurricanes. What the fuck? Where do you think everybody should live in? Nebraska? That has tornadoes. Everywhere has something except for Arizona, and they have extreme heat. If the power goes out, you're fucked. Because how are you going to cool off? It's easier to warm up, or it's easier to dry off than it is to cool off in the heat. So you want everybody in the country to live in Vegas or Phoenix? Get the fuck out of here. Arrest Bill Gates and arrest Fauci. I agree. Arrest both of them. Or arrest is too easy of a word, in my opinion. So this is James Wood, the actor, and this is from his house.
You're looking good. Your house is not on fire.
But who's the guy at his house taking this video for him? Probably going through all of his shit and stealing stuff right now.
You're looking good. Your house is not on fire, but it's. I'm here in case.
I mean, look how close it is and how easy it can be on fire. And this is on me on X. This is the Club Rico podcast on X, but on Instagram, it's a Safe and Effective podcast. Yes, California is destroyed today, but California was already destroyed by Democrat policies 3-4 years ago. This is just, residual aftermath. But there was a victory today, at least. The fact checkers are dead, and the people like myself who create memes, put them there. Because we're relentless anyway. You can't get rid of us. We'll just make new pages and we'll just keep talking to people, and you can't stop us in person You don't have that kind of power. You only have power on the internet, and the internet's not real. The internet's not a real place. It's an option, but you still got to go outside eventually, and that's where I'm at. I'm out in the real world. I'm out here in person. But yeah, follow my page, the Safe and Effective Podcast, for more America First content, or the Safe and Effective Podcast on YouTube. Follow my page. I'm going to go ahead and upload these videos. I'm going to do another segment on Rumble, and I'll do one specifically on X and just dive into some things that I can't talk about here, like this subject right here. Why this guy, everybody remembers it was a big deal when he self-deleted. But if you look at how old he is and what they said happened to him as a child, this is why they're putting the drag queens in your kids' elementary school. Once you become an adult, you realize what you did as a kid when you didn't really have a choice, and the embarrassment alone, it eats you away. And a lot of these people self-delete before the age of 34. That's why they have to push this in your schools. Apparently, I'm not allowed to talk about that or make those connections for you on here. So if you come to Rumble, or if you come to X, then you can get more of my content. But like and subscribe on my YouTube and on my Instagram. And I'll just keep you up to date with all this stuff. There's some other topics I want to talk about that are also on the New York Post today. No, not these women who are withering away from Ozempic. I'm talking about other stuff. But we'll go over it in a little bit. Let me go ahead and end this stream, and I'm going to start another one on the other platforms. And yeah, remember, always never forget, fuck George Soros and fuck Klaus Schwab.